One player I've seen a lot of discourse about on Twitter is Josh Jobe. Josh Jobe forced into action at cornerback early this season with the Avonte Maddox injury when the Eagles moved James Bradberry into the slot. Now even though they have Bradley Roby, he has to play against the Jets because Darius Slay's out. And so just how did Josh Jobe play? I mean, he had a 47 coverage grade via PFF. He drew 2 flags on the day. It had to be pretty bad, right? Let's go to the tape. Here is that first penalty against Josh Jobe. He's down here at the bottom of the screen, and you're just going to see him, and you'll see him do it again this game, but he's going to get too grabby at the top of a route stem. So he's got outside leverage here, pushing inside where you've got safety help. That's totally fine, but now when he tries to break outside, he gets underneath Jobe, and Jobe just grabs him, doesn't let him go. Easy flag for the official. And again, that's one where just let him go. Probably. Maybe it's a bad throw. You are playing Zach Wilson. Maybe you just get a little bit of a grab, whatever. You don't want to just grab on in front of the official. That's far too easy. But later in this same possession, we see him. Here's Jobe playing off coverage. We're going to get the receiver running an out route, and Jobe does a really good job at driving down on this and forcing an incompletion. So he squats on this route, sees the break, and he starts to drive down as Zach Wilson delivers the ball, and he's able to make a play at the catch point. So good and bad from Jobe there on the first drive. And he ultimately makes the play that gets the Eagles off the field on the opening possession. However, after that, Jobe missed the next 2 possessions, which is strange. I don't know if there was an injury thing. If you were going to pull him for the flag, you would do it, earlier. And he's on the field on the last play, makes the play, nothing looks strange. But for whatever reason, he misses the next 2 possessions. And then we come back on the 4th possession. Here's Jobe at the top of the screen. Said we're going to see this, a familiar sight. We've got an out-breaking route. Jobe gets too physical at the top of the route, and this is going to draw another flag. Just a little out of position, a little too handsy at the break. Easy flag for the official. That's something that Jobe has to clean up moving forward. Now this time we have Jobe at the top of the screen, off coverage. The receiver is going to run a slant route behind sort of a vertical route here from the inside receiver. And I think Jobe does a really good job from off coverage at breaking down. He seems to do a better job, in my view, of breaking down on in breakers than he does on out breakers. But that may or may not be accurate. It's just my feeling watching the game. But you see him turbos down there. Ultimately, the ball doesn't come his way, but I think it's a good coverage rep. And now we're going to get him at the top of the screen. This time we're in press coverage. So he's been in off. Now he's in press. We're going to get a vertical release and then going to the front pylon. And I think he does a really good job on this press interaction. Gets hands on the receiver, right? He goes inside. It's an inside release, but we've got help in the middle. There's linebackers there, so he's playing with outside leverage, stays on that inside pocket. Now, ultimately, he ends up on the ground at the end there. But I think that's a pretty good rep in coverage there from Josh Jobe. So again, seeing some good things from him here in coverage. Now we have Jobe in off coverage on the outside receiver in a bunch. Outside receiver is going to try to get him on a double move, a little out and up. I think Jobe does a really good job at staying in phase here. His technique's good. He doesn't bite on this double move. This boom, he takes a step, opens those hips back up, and he's there. That throw's not there. And so I think that's a really good play by Josh Jobe not to bite on that. I mean, we've seen Darius Slay bite on one of those double moves earlier this season, and everybody gets got, but having that discipline, resisting the siren call to make a big play, really good there from Jobe. Then we come back again. We're in press coverage here on Garrett Wilson at the bottom of the screen, and I think this is a good rep. It's just one where a great catch beats great coverage. And so he gets that jam. He's running on the inside shoulder, funneling to the sideline. Now, you don't want to let him get a step on you. You would rather be right here in his hip pocket. You're just a little bit behind, but this is a tight window. And it's not really, honestly, a very good throw by Zach Wilson, but Garrett Wilson goes up and makes that catch. So overall, I think that's a pretty good rep for Josh Jobe, even though it results in a big gain. This is probably Jobe's worst non-penalized rep of the game. We've got him down here at the bottom again on Garrett Wilson. He ended up on Garrett Wilson a lot in this game, and to be honest, in this situation, I would rather you have Bradberry on Garrett Wilson. If you want to put Jobe on Garrett Wilson and leave Bradberry on an island and push your coverage to Wilson, that makes sense, but I thought they kind of left Jobe on an island here. This is the free play because we get a jump off sides here. It's just going to be, I mean, it's a second reaction, kind of a scramble drill thing, but Jobe's footwork is all wrong here, and he gets dusted on this one. So he goes for the jam. He's got the inside leverage. We're good, but he's leaning too much. And so when Wilson snaps this route off, just that transition's terrible. He's got no chance here. From inside leverage, he's in the right position, leaning, boom, has to open his hips all the way up, gets dusted across the field, and then he misses the tackle. And that is something that Jobe has done before, giving up big plays because he misses tackles. Now, ultimately, that one doesn't count because of the blindside block on Allen Lazard, but that's a pretty poor rep there from Josh Jobe. This time, Jobe is at the bottom of the screen defending a receiver that's in a compressed look. The Jets are going to run a play-action bootleg, and they're going to get Zach Wilson rolling this way. The receiver sort of fakes the block and then runs this out route. And Josh Jobe does a good job to stay with him, doesn't get fooled, doesn't take the play off because he thinks it's a run away from him. He's right there in coverage, and he's able to swat the ball away. Even if that's completed, it'd be a really short gain on second down. And then the last play I wanted to show, he's down here at the bottom of the screen again. This is just a really good press interaction. The receiver is going to go for an outside release and then try to cut inside, and Jobe does a really good job of getting hands on him, being physical when it's allowed to do so. This isn't going to draw a flag. This is legal. A good jam here from Jobe at the bottom of the screen. So we'll roll that, boom, inside. I love that. Let's rewind that. At the release, he gets inside. You want to push it to the sideline here. You want to use the sideline as an extra defender, so he's walling off the inside. When the route tries to break inside, he does a really good job of popping him in the chest, and it just disrupts any timing. If this is a quick in breaker, that plays dead in the water. So good stuff there from Josh Jobe on that one. I think it was an up and down performance for Josh Jobe, but it was more good than bad. While I wouldn't want Josh Jobe to be playing a lot of snaps in a playoff run this season, I think he's good as a depth piece. I think there's hope for him as a long-term solution at a starter outside moving forward. I mean, at the end of the day, he allowed 2 receptions for 38 yards in this game and only allowed 2 yards after the catch. Now, obviously, that's helped out by the one play negated by penalty. Things are off. He sees Hassan Reddick, or I don't think it was Hassan Reddick. He sees the defensive lineman jump. Maybe that plays into the psyche there. So all in all, I think people are a little too down on Josh Jobe. I think overall, he played a pretty solid game against a really good receiver in Garrett Wilson.